Welcome to the All Need Music Podcast. I'm Matt,
I'm Jesse.
and we are here tonight with Ash Taylor. How are you, Ash?
Man, I'm good. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ash is a singer-songwriter, and Jesse loves to give me crap. If you go back and look at previous podcasts,
I don't think so.
He likes to call me City Boy because I am from California.
What part of California?
So
the
I'm
city
from,
part. The city part.
the city part.
As city as you can get.
Yeah. So I'm from Northern California, from the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
But oddly enough, my cousin Chris lives in Bakersfield.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. What a small world.
Yeah. And then my sister for a long time lived in what I think most people would probably consider the armpit of California, Victorville.
Oh, that is the armpit. Yes. Yes.
So for us non-Californians, where's like Bakersfield at compared to the Bay Area?
Well, Bay Area is way up north, which, by the way, I think is just beautiful, beautiful part of the state. My youngest brother went to college up there, and I always loved getting to go visit him because it was just beautiful. So I love that part of California. But yes, Matt, you are from the more city part, but that's okay. We still love you, man. We still love you. It's a big state. We still love you. Well, you're an honorary country guy tonight. You're good, but yeah. And then I'm from Bakersfield, which, as you know, is more of like that Central California farm town type thing. That I've actually heard people refer to that as the armpit of California, which, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I do know it is the meth capital of the world, at least at one point. So, yeah, but on a positive note, I'm really proud to be from Bakersfield. I grew up there, and what I think is really cool about Bakersfield, my hometown, is the music history that we have there. Mm-hmm. So, if you don't know, if you've never heard, back in the 60s and 70s, it was actually like the original Nashville. And so it's the birthplace of Merle Haggard. Buck Owens really took Bakersfield and made it kind of mainstream with the Bakersfield sound. Dwight Yoakam, and so many different session players and songwriters and other artists that all came out of Bakersfield. I always joke that it's basically like, if you live there, you understand we have really nothing to do. And all that's there is just dirt and agriculture. And so you pick up a guitar and you get to be pretty good at it because it's either that or drugs. It's
that or meth.
That those are your options, my friend. Those are your options. But no, I love being from California.
Yeah. The every time I give Matt crap about being a city boy from California, he always is like, well, Merle Haggard is from.
This is true.
Do you know Dwight Yoakam? Like, would you them city? And I was like, well, they're from the country part of it, so kind of like where you're from. So
in all fairness, the city I grew up in, we've got to preface that I was born in Missouri, so I'm not that city. My family is very much rednecks, but that part of the East Bay where I grew up was farm country.
Oh, totally.
And John Party is from just up the road from where I'm from, so there's some country in Northern California as well.
Yeah.
You get into like San Francisco, certainly city, Oakland, certainly city, but East Bay was farm country for me growing up. Now it's all tract homes and suburbs of San Francisco. But back when there was still farms and almond orchards and everything else in that part of the East Bay. So,
but Matt didn't hang out there. Matt didn't hang out there. He went deep in the city. He didn't go deep in the country.
No, man, I get what you're saying, though. I get it. It's, I always think that's one thing, though, when I say I'm from California, a lot of people automatically in their mind, they just think Hollywood or LA.
Yeah.
And they're like, how is it like, you speak with like a Southern accent or whatever. But my grandparents that I was super close to, like my Nana, my mom's mom, was the reason that I got into country music. I mean, hands down. And so she though, grew up in the South, and she made things like sweet tea. I mean, fried green tomatoes. I mean, she sounded like a banjo when she talked. I tell people that it's like she was country, like lived for people like Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette. And I mean, that was what was played in her house all the time. So to me, like a Southern lifestyle was just made to be. But the only reason they moved from the South on out to California was because Orange County, Southern California, used to be orange fields back in the day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, they would go pick oranges in the field. It's like they're farmers, they're rednecks. And like, my grandfather worked in the docks and served in the military. And it's like, we're just a bunch of red, white, and blue hicks. That's the truth of it. And it's a very simple upbringing, very simple background, but I'm really proud of it. It's good. Lots of good people come from that state, but I hate when we get, shit on because of, LA and Malibu and stuff. I'm like, no, hold on a second.
Yeah. Well, and that's how my family wound up there as well. Cause they're all from Arkansas and Oklahoma, and they moved west during the Great Depression. And, they all wound up initially in Dinuba, Fresno, Visalia, in that kind of central California area, farming as well. And my grandma, up until the day she died, when she cooked, she put Crisco in things and she called it seasoning. She'd be making green beans and put a scoop of Crisco in it. She's like, I just need some seasoning. She had jars of bacon grease on the counter, and bacon grease went into everything. Like, I grew up with biscuits and gravy in my blood.
Yes. I would have liked that cooking.
Still there.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
You don't get rid of that.
I call bacon grease love, not seasoning.
Oh, it is love. Man, you lather that in anything. No, it's so cool. She sounds like a great lady and a great cook. You're making me kind of hungry. I could eat some biscuits and gravy right now. It sounds pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Never a bad time for biscuits and gravy.
No, definitely not.
So then, Ash, you kind of uprooted from Bakersfield and moved to Nashville. What age did you move there? And kind of tell us a little bit about. I know a little bit of the history of you going there. Never going there. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I was straight out of high school in Bakersfield. I kind of got a late start into music. I picked up a guitar when I was 17. And taught myself how to play. And then from there, I actually went into audio school. So I have a degree in audio engineering. And I worked in some recording studios in Bakersfield, but then also out in LA for a while. And I hated it. I wanted to be just honestly, I wanted to be creative. I wanted to create things. I had all of these ideas and no one wanted to listen to me. No one wanted me to talk. They were like, nope, you just get the coffee, you wrap the cables, they'd be like, EQ this to so many hertz. And I'm like, oh, and so, I kind of realized really quick after graduating that it wasn't for me. And so I started writing terrible songs in my bedroom and I kind of experimented with songwriting, but I was like, man, I don't know. I think I'd really like this. So I was writing songs and trying to understand what to do, trying to understand how to write a song. How do you get better? Like, what do you do? And I ended up finding this place online called Songtown USA, which is ran by two hit songwriters. One is Clay Mills, who wrote Darius Rucker's Don't Think I Don't Think About It, Beautiful Mess for Diamond Rio, a series of other hits. Yeah. And so it was him and another songwriter who basically started this to teach people how to write songs. And so I started taking kind of lessons, if you will, and just diving in, getting involved. And one day Clay and I, we had kind of just started a friendship, and he came to me and he said, hey, he goes, here's the deal. He's like, we think you're crazy talented. We think you're freaking awesome, but you're never going to get anywhere writing songs in your bedroom in Bakersfield, California. And God, did that hurt, man. But it was true. That's the thing, though, man. It is true. And so he offered me a internship there at his company. He said, if you can get out here in 30 days, I got you. And I said, okay. And so I literally sold everything I owned, and I hopped on a red-eye flight. And I moved to Nashville. I had never been there, never visited. I had never even seen the state of Tennessee before. And so, yeah, I showed up. I was 25 when I moved out here. And I showed up. I lived in my car. It was a Chrysler 06 PT Cruiser for the first 6 months. I would meet people at a writer's night and sleep on couches. I moved out here because I wanted to write songs so badly, and I wanted to learn how. And Clay was just an amazing teacher. Hall of Fame, just incredible songwriter. Yeah, so yeah. I would show up at his house a couple times a week, and I would do all of this work, but I would get to sit in and watch him write a song with 3 other people. and, you know, just watch how like all of that comes together and how it works. And I'm like, I can do that. Okay. You know, so I'm taking notes, but yeah, so I mean, that's kind of how I got here to town. And truthfully, when I moved to town, I never wanted to be an artist. I never had any intention whatsoever. I purely wanted just to write songs for other people. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to do all these things. And then I was here for about a year, and multiple people basically said, hey, you're an artist. And I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? You know, like what are you talking about? And so I kind of went on this journey, you know, just trying to figure out like, well, am I an artist? You know, because I thought I was an audio engineer, and that was kind of cool, but not. And am I a songwriter, or what am I? You know, and so I've been really blessed to be a recording artist now for touring artist. I mean, I do music full time, and I just love getting to be an artist, and I have definitely found my home. You know, it's perfect. I still get to write my songs, and then sometimes I write songs for other people, and then I get a tour, and I get to be creative and make music videos and make records, and you know, dive into the audio side of things, and so I just get to kind of go all over the place and just be creative, and it's wonderful. I'm really blessed to be able to do what I love for a living.
Yeah,
and
we
I was going to say, you also have something else a little different than a lot of other artists do in your lead guitarist, right?
Yes, I am married to my lead guitar player and band leader. Yeah. So I met Chris, my now husband. I actually met him at the Guitar Center here in Nashville. So I had a really good friend. Her name was Dallas Remington, and she's an artist as well. And we had been writing a bunch of songs together. We played shows together. You know, her and I were just best buds. And Chris had started playing lead guitar for her in her band. And she swore, she was like, you guys just have to meet, like, blah, 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 blah. And I did not want a boyfriend. I thought all boys were trouble. I had my dog. They are. You're well, and Chris is trouble. You saw last night. I know you tuned my live stream. He's a handful, but so am I. So it works out. But yeah, so we kind of just met through Dallas. She came into the Guitar Center one day and brought Chris with her to buy some pedals, and I was there, and we met. And Chris out of the gate was head over heels in love, and I'm like, nope, don't want a boyfriend. Boys are nothing but trouble. Like, no go, man. I had my dog, and I was going to write country songs and just hang out with my dog. And you know, he came, and through just a long period of time, I mean, we became friends. And yeah, I mean, truthfully, and I genuinely mean this, you know, he's my partner in every way, shape, and form. He's definitely my better half. But yeah, we're really blessed to be able to do everything in life together, you know, whether it's our marriage or music or really just anything. But yeah, he plays lead guitar, and he's also my band leader. He also is very multi-talented. He is actually right now in the room next to my studio in his office, and he's actually editing a music video that's going to be coming out here in a few weeks. So he films and edits and directs my music videos and takes photos, and he's just a man of many talents. So I'm really blessed to have him in my life for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You were about to say something last time, Jesse. I cut you off.
Yeah, and you interrupted me, and I forgot what I was saying. So.
Rude.
It happens.
No, I was. What I was gonna say is that on our podcast here, we love to get. You know, we don't just interview artists. We like to get people across all areas of the music industry, whether it's songwriters, whether it's artists, whether it's you know, people that run venues, booking, you know, stuff like that. So
right.
Kind of with having you on the podcast here, and you kind of like cover a lot of those, you know, you're doing it all on your own as far as, well, with Chris and everything, you kind of like check a lot of those boxes. You're the songwriter, you're the artist, you know, you create your content, you know,
booking agent.
I'm definitely the booking agent, tour manager. Yeah. And you know, I think that's just part of being an independent artist nowadays. And I mean, I've had deals, and I've had other people I've hired or, you know, need help. And there are still times, you know, that I outsource things because you just can't be great at everything. And, you know, I think we're always just trying to one up, right? We're always just trying to get better and better and better with everything we do. So, you know, something that I think though is just the way that it is nowadays is like, you know, I'm going to have to work about 20 hours a day every day and wear the different hats. And I spend a lot of time listening actually to podcasts, where it's like, oh, they have a booking agent on. I should probably go, listen while I go to the gym and try to figure out, like, am I doing things right? Chat GPT has become a good friend of mine. Like, how do I do this? But yeah, and I think it just needs to happen though, when you get to a certain point. And I think nobody cares as much as I do. And I'm blessed to have, Chris being my band leader and doing music video stuff and all that he does for sure. I mean, definitely would not be able to do any of this without him. I mean, it's very much him and I against the world, it feels like most days. But, I think we've also invested a lot of time and a lot of money into making sure we have the right gear. And when you listen to any of my records, if you go to Spotify, Chris and I actually play, between the two of us, we play all of the guitar parts. We literally bring in our own gear. We get a bass player and a drummer, and that's him and I playing everything. And so, wow. I know that in Nashville, that is extremely rare. And we have so many just amazing session players, you know what I mean? And oh my gosh, not downplaying those guys, because here's the deal. They can kick my ass any day of the week. Like Chris and I say that all the time. It's like, man, they're great. But we've invested in having, guitars and cameras and stuff. And being able to understand what the vision is that we have and how do we work together then to make that vision become a reality. And I think there's something really cool about like going into a recording studio, and instead of having these really polished session players who are incredible musicians, right? But I think when you do that, it's like you just kind of sound like everybody else. And I think there's something really truthful and raw when, like, if I write a guitar part, like if I'm writing a song and I come up with that guitar riff, let me play it, or if Chris is, doing something, it's like, okay, let's work on this. And what do we want this to be? How do we want this to sound? What's the feel? And I think that's what a lot of bands back in the 70s actually used to do, back in the day, like Leonard Skinner, woodshedding, if you've heard that term, where they had like the woodshed and they would all go out and it's like, they all wrote songs together. They all did that. And there's something so magical and timeless. So I guess I'm kind of the black sheep of Nashville in the way that I'm like, oh, I want to play all my own guitar parts and I'm going to write all my own songs. And, on all the records, Chris does harmony, and we just have fun and we just create stuff and we just try to make it real and raw and leave our imperfections in there, because I think that helps tell the story, helps make it real.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's more authentically you, right? It would be terrible. And I've seen this, in artists before, where you hear a song that's been recorded and then you hear it live and you're like, oh, that sounded like crap. And I think that comes from, there are so many talented session players in Nashville.
Sure.
Incredible. But if you're not that incredible, you probably shouldn't be letting them play on your album, because then when you go and do your stuff live, everyone's like,
yeah. Well, there's a lot of things too that, I didn't think about all of this at first, like if you listen to my first EP that came out, I'm very proud of that. But most of that stuff on that very first record was all session players, and I was told that at that point, it was like, I was told like, oh no, you're the artist, you don't do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was scared, I was scared to say something, when you're the new kid in town and, people have a way of doing something and you're staring at this guy's like 4 Grammys and you're like, well, hell, what do I know? So I think, that's part of the journey. I think it took me a while to get comfortable though, and to learn who I am and what I like and what I don't. And then I think therefore now I just make, I would say, a lot better art because it sounds more like me. But a huge thing I don't think people think of is when you're in the studio and you can do unlimited tracks, right? You can have a 20-piece band and you can have this and this and that and reverb and compression and all that stuff. It's amazing. However, how do you then go take that out on the road and how do you make that sound just like the record?
Right.
Ooh, that's a tough one, my friends. That's a tough one. So yeah. And I think a lot of people nowadays too, like I know a lot of artists are doing stuff with tracks, just to help fill stuff out. Like we're on California last year with an artist in California. Actually, we did a week of shows and we were opening the show every night in a different city for this artist on Sony, and wonderful, artist, great crew and everything. But their whole show is basically tracks. And there was a drummer, one guitar player, and the artist on stage. And then they couldn't afford to pay a bass player. So it's like you're hearing all this stuff, that's not being played live. It's tracks. The bass player, it's a track. So, and I don't, I don't in any way look down on people that do that, because I understand how hard it is to make a profit sometimes. And I totally get it. But that's the thing. Like when Chris and I go in to record, we have the ability to go, if you and I cannot replicate this really well acoustically with just you and I and guitars, or you and me, a drummer and a bass player, it can't go on the record.
Yeah.
Right. Until we get up in the ranks, because it's like, well, then I just can't give the show that I want to give. Sure. And I don't want people to show up to the show loving a song and then go, gosh, it just didn't sound like the record. You know what I mean? And not that it needs to sound exactly like it, but just to be missing components. I would hate for someone to show up and feel like they got the short end of the stick, So I think, again, it goes back to like, look at what you got, make the best out of it, and then just replicate it and put out quality over quantity.
Yeah. And I'm personally not a big fan of tracks. I just, in a way it's cringy to me.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see the stripped down, just bare bones. Give me what you got, and we just saw, last week we saw Brian Martin in concert, and Taylor Austin Dye opened up for him. And so her husband is actually her drummer.
Hey, look at that.
We're big, the merch on.
We're big on.
Come on now.
We're big on telling people they need to buy the merch and support the artists. We know that's a big way of making the money. And so you'll notice that on our podcast, we have a rule where we can wear our stuff, right? But then we always wear artist stuff. And so it's, we walk the walk and talk the talk, that you buy the merch and you go to the show, whether, even if you're scraping by a koozie, if you appreciate the show and that kind of.
Buy a wristband.
Right.
Yeah, brother. Come on. That's awesome.
So back to Taylor Austin Dye and her husband, it was just the two of them on stage.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible show. They didn't need to have tracks and all this other stuff. It was stripped down, raw, the two of them, phenomenal show. And that was all it needed to be.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be something extravagant at a festival or something, which oftentimes ain't worth a damn anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, and I funny enough, I actually played, a show with Taylor Austin Dye right before the pandemic hit. It was her and I and two other girls. We did like a girl power round here in Nashville, and no one showed.
Oh no!
Yeah,
no, because of the pandemic.
Fun. Yeah, I think people were starting to get a little itchy. But she's wonderful. Like, she's amazing. Just her and her acoustic guitar is incredible. She's so super talented. But I agree with you though. I think sometimes it's like we don't really need that stuff. And I think people too, they're so desensitized to everything just sounding so polished and perfect and tuned all the time, because that's just what everything is nowadays. So in my experience, so like right after the pandemic, during the pandemic, we had recorded it and I put it out right after. We did an EP called The Acoustic Sessions. And all it was this is really when Chris and I kind of got into actually playing together, and us doing that. And we had a lot of time clearly to practice and stuff while we were locked in the house. And so we went in though to make this EP called The Acoustic Sessions. And it literally was just him and I and two microphones. So you had two, like my vocal and two acoustic guitars. And it was just him and I, and we took 3 songs, and that I felt like, were different parts of my personality that I'm like, these are probably going to become staples in the live show. Like, let's do these. Yeah. And we just had a blast, and people went nuts over it though. And I thought, oh, no one's going to listen to this. You know what I mean? It's like, no, people loved it, because you can hear the squeaking of my chair. You can hear, like maybe I'm a little pitchy, or maybe there's a little wrong note. And it's just, there's little tiny things where it's just not super polished and it's not super perfect, just as if you were sitting here at a live show. It's not perfect. And it's like, I think people are looking for that in a world where it's just so hard to find things that are real anymore, right? Everything's fake. It's like, I think people love that. They're looking for it.
Well, and that's Matt and I, we've talked about on our podcast many times now about how we've been to all the stadium shows. We've been to the music festivals. We've done all this, and we actually prefer just kind of raw emotion, like
Yeah.
almost like, like playing in a dive bar or playing acoustic like
Yeah.
that. Like those, it's just so much more intimate of a show, and I feel like you get to highlight an artist, and it's not the polished version of them.
Yeah.
And even like Matt said before, like we've seen many people that you hear them on the radio and you're super excited to see them, and then you get there and it's like, wait, this does not sound like what I've been listening to. But then you also
Yeah.
get some of the people that they sound better live, and they put on
Sure.
a better show than what you listen to on there. So it's kind of a that's kind of where we tend to stay away from in after we've seen so many concerts and everything. We'd like to go to see something like that, like just an acoustic set or a writer's round
Yeah.
or something like something more intimate.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you've played the Bluebird before, which is an incredible venue,
Yes.
in my opinion, and it's super small.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the person next to you maybe getting their chicken wings delivered while a song's being played.
Yeah.
All right, and it's to me there's different kinds of music fans.
Mm-hmm.
You've got music fans that are I guess commercial radio fans.
Right.
And I don't believe those people are the people that are spending money. They're not the people that are engaging with you on social media. They're not the people that are coming to your show and talking to you at the merch table and telling you what this song meant or that song meant, or, oh, the first time I saw you was this or that.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the people that want to see those listening room kind of shows. They want the strip down. They don't care about some imperfections here and there, because that's the real part of music. When Jesse was talking a minute ago, I know it wasn't outside my house, but somebody had sirens going by. I could hear it. I was picking it up. So it was either Jesse's or yours.
And, they found me.
And I was thinking during that, I was like, how fitting, right? I can hear these sirens in the background, which means it's going to get picked up on the audio. And that's very much what that is, right?
Yeah.
And playing those shows that, you hear all of those other things that just kind of combine with it, but make it a very real experience for people that they can connect with you and just have an incredible time.
Yeah. Oh, no, totally. Yeah. The Bluebird I've gotten to play a couple of times. And I remember the first time that I actually did it was also right before the pandemic. And it was, you could not move in that room. It was so packed. Yeah. And I played it. It was at like the end of February. And I think the lockdown happened like beginning or mid of March.
Yeah.
So it was like right before. And I always remembered that because it was so weird to go to like this crowded room where we're all, just on top of like each other, just no elbow room whatsoever. But we're all there for the music, right? And it's like you could hear a pin drop, and it was so cool. And that was my first time playing it. And I went home and I bawled. Like, because to me that's like the Super Bowl. Like if you're a songwriter, you just played the Super Bowl. Like how does that feel? So that was really, really cool. And then the last time that I played it was a lot of fun as well. And that they actually brought back the whole like in the round, and it was a thing. But I had my water, and I literally there was nowhere to put it, because like I'm in a circle in the middle of the room. So I asked this lady behind me, I'm like, hey, can I put my water on your table? And she's like, yeah, sure. So but that you're that close to people though when they're performing, and it's things like that though. That's why I have so much respect for things like listening rooms. Truthfully, I play a lot of listening rooms, which are ticketed shows, so it's like how much money I make on the road sometimes depends on how many people are willing to buy a ticket, and who wants to hear the story and whatnot. And so I agree with you. I think there are different kinds of fans, and while I appreciate all of them, there are definitely people that are like, well, you're not Miranda Lambert. Are you playing on the CMAs this year? Okay, well then it's like, and it's like, I think some people really just look for the mainstream stuff, and that's what they like, and that's cool. But I think we're missing so much great music and so many great artists that are not maybe playing the CMAs or not doing whatever, and you're going to find them at the Bluebird or a listening room, and they're kind of waiting on folks to show up and buy the merch and to buy a ticket and come hear the stories and the songs. And that's the cool thing that I love about my job, truthfully, is like, it is my job to get out in front of as many people as possible and just to be creative and just to hopefully create cool things to where people are like, man, I want to come to a show, or I'm going to go stream that on Spotify, and that's my job. So I just try to do a good job at it the most I can, and just, keep making fans and connecting with people any chance I get.
We call them the citified country folk.
Yeah.
But I'm not city.
No, you're not city for this. You're not city for this one.
I'm a country music junkie.
Yeah,
dude, I can tell.
There's a lot of those. Well, and now that country's cool again, a lot of people jumping back into country music, and that it's a cool thing to see, and so many different people come into country music that might not necessarily been like your classic country. Yeah. And I think it's just broadened the horizon for country music. But yeah, there are a lot of citified country fans now that, wear the cowboy hats and the boots that,
big time.
Get blisters on their feet because they've never wore a pair of boots before, and their cowboy hat is pristine and don't have a sweat stain on it like mine. And
their skinny jeans are tucked into their cowboy boots.
Oh gosh, no, those are. Yeah,
and you got the woo-woo girls down there on Broadway.
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah, we got lots of those. Yeah. No, I think it's cool though how diverse like country music has gotten though as a genre. There's pros and cons to everything, but I actually think it's really cool. Have you ever heard, if not, I'll get nerdy here for a second and educate on the history of Bakersfield country. But have you ever heard the Buck Owens Oath? Have you ever heard of that?
I've not.
I've heard of Buck Owens. I don't know about the Oath though.
So Buck Owens is clearly like massive influence in my, literally, you guys can see on my camera, Merle Haggard is over my right shoulder. Yep. On the left is Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. Yeah, okay, nice. My yin, my yang. So anyway, but yeah, so I love Buck Owens. Yeah, my yin and my yang. I love Buck Owens, and I'm a huge Buck Owens fan. Huge influence on what I do. And so, what he did is he basically put out this oath in a magazine. I think this was back in the late '60s, and he said, "I will play no song that is not a country song." So like only country music. That's what he's trying to say, right? I will only play country music. And then he would turn around and he would go play a song like Johnny Be Good. And people were like, "You said you would only play a country song, right?" And they were like, and so he would be like, "Well, it is a country song. It tells a story. It's guitar driven, instrumental. It's real. It's a true story." And so that was his thing. And, he also wrote Act Naturally, which of course the Beatles ended up releasing, which brought a whole bunch of people into country music. And then a lot of, people who would never become a Buck Owens fan became one. So I think genres are cool, but I myself even have noticed that a lot of people who don't listen to country music, if I say, "Oh, I play country music," they think they don't like it. And then they'll go and they listen to my music and they go, "Oh, I didn't think that's what I was going to hear. I love what you're doing," but that's the thing. It's like, I live off of that oath of Buck Owens, where it's like, I sometimes have a lot of really heavy rock guitars, or sometimes it's kind of folky and Americana. I mean, I definitely lean in that genre too. I'm a storyteller. So it's like, I can flip back and forth. I'm always myself, but it's like, some days I'm more folk. Some days I'm really country. Some days I'm a little rock and roll. A lot of Southern rock, I flow. But it's like, people, I think, just have these stereotypes in their heads. And I think sometimes they're missing out on good music because it's like, "Oh, she's a country singer." It's like, yeah, but, listen to it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. But I just don't make records for you. But I think you'll be surprised.
So on that note, and I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, you may have opened for this person before, but I use that argument without knowing that oath. All right. And my dad's old school country, and he swears there's been no country music made since the 90s.
Yep.
I'm personally a big Colt Ford fan.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And I believe you've opened for Colt before.
I have. We played a festival together. Yes, sir.
And so Colt Ford is a country music singer. And I've had people argue that, no, he's a rapper. And I said, listen to his lyrics. He's telling a story.
Yep.
It's at a different speed, a different tempo.
Yep.
But everything that he's saying is the same thing you're hearing in a country song. It's just slightly different. And my dad, that ain't country music. And it's like, listen to him talking about the back roads. That's the same things that you're hearing in a country song at a different speed with a different beat behind it. Is he playing with a steel guitar? No, he's not. And don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a steel guitar. I love that.
Same.
But I can appreciate, kind of all of the different branches of country music.
Country rap, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Kind of mixing the...
Yeah, mix them up. Well, I heard this one time, and I think this is so good for any music fan, and this really changed the way that I perceive these things. I would always hear people, like you could name anybody. It could be Ash Taylor or Nickelback or something. You're like, man, I don't like Ash Taylor, or man, I don't like Nickelback, or, you'll hear someone say that. And I heard one time someone say, it's not that they really don't like it. It's that you don't make records for them. And I went, oh, that is so true, because sometimes, it's like, I'm not trying to, Taylor Swift, I think, is a great example. Honestly, I think she's the prime. A lot of older guys probably don't buy Taylor Swift records, and they're probably annoyed with seeing her face everywhere, but she does not make records for you.
Right.
She makes records for these young girls or girls my age, and that's who we grew up with, and that's her fan base. And my God, well, yes, of course, Matt. I mean, yes, but yeah, I think. But a lot of people will hate on people though for that kind of thing, or say, oh, I don't like their music. And I think it's all just opinions, but at the end of the day, it's like, no, that person just doesn't make records for you. And so I think sometimes when I find myself not really vibing with someone else's art, I've really tried to like stop myself and not say, oh, I don't like that song, or, oh, whatever. It's like, no. I don't want to crap on someone else's art. I'm just going to say, good for them. That's cool. But you don't make records for me. Yeah. And then you move on. And so that's kind of my kind of.
That's a great, whoever said that to you, that's it was a buddy. Pretty good piece of advice right there, because we found ourselves kind of doing similar. We try not to dog on anybody, but it's kind of like, yes, they are except Beyonce.
That's fair. That's fair.
But that's the thing is we're huge. We're huge country music people. She is a phenomenal artist.
Sure.
In her own genre, jumping over to country just because country's cool again, and to try to get a different fan base. Like, I don't think she had the number one country song on the tracks because country people were listening to her. I think it was all her millions and millions of Beyonce fans that listened to it because it was a new album out by Beyonce. Yeah. So it is, like you said, she's not making an album for you, she's an incredible artist, but it's just not, not our cup of tea.
I totally agree. Yeah. And I think something for me is, about the whole Beyonce thing, and watch me now get canceled for this, but no, I'm just being honest. Like, cause I love Beyonce. There are some great songs. If you go through her catalogs, I'm going to straight up, and the girl can sing. She's beautiful. Like, I love Beyonce.
Yeah.
Come on, she's great. Here's my hot take with this whole country's cool again kind of a thing. I think that if people want to come into the country music genre, that's really cool. I think you have to understand who we are, though, and you need to show the utmost of respect for our genre. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you need to actually appreciate who we are, what we do, what we're about. Because if you're going to make music for these types of people, I think when you just dive in and you put steel guitar and you rap to it sometimes, say like Cowboy Carter, like I listened to that record, I was kind of offended. Like, truthfully, I was like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like you're making fun of me, Yeah. Right. And so I think there needs to be respect. And I think there are people that do it right. Truthfully, like Post Malone.
100%.
Dude, but the respect that he has for country music and music in general and storytelling, I'm like, yes, that like, I appreciate that. And I think it's super cool, but you have to be respectful. And I think people that just throw on a cowboy hat and whatnot, it's like, it's kind of offensive. It's like, I feel like you're making fun of me, and it's like, that's not cool, man. Not cool.
Yeah, people can tell if you're genuine or not.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like you gotta kind of live the country lifestyle if you're gonna make country music. Like you said, you
Yeah.
can't just throw on a pair of boots and a cowboy hat and
Hmm.
call yourself country.
Yes.
Uh, that's 100%.
Hmm.
Kind of where we're at with it too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, and
that's
just understanding too, like the history, of like where it comes from.
yeah,
How what is the origin of country music? Where did it start? Who are the key players? Have you gone and listened to their records? I mean, do you know who George Jones is? Like,
right.
Right.
and I think you said it was your dad that said country music has been made since the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was a really great time though, where there was a lot of amazing artists and everything. I totally agree. And I grew up in the 2000s, and so for me, if you even go look at like that 2000s country era, there was a lot of great artists, a lot of great story songs, and there was still a lot of respect and reverence though for traditional country. Plus I had my grandparents, my parents who were, I mean, I grew up in Bakersfield, so that's the thing. But yeah, I think just respect and reverence, no matter what genre it is. But it's weird. It's almost like you're going into someone's house, and you're not invited, and then you're just kind of showing up and playing ding dong ditch, and you're like the bad friend, bad party guest, and you're just not being respectful and cool, and no one's here gonna like that, especially in the South, where we're known to be one of the greatest, nicest cities. I mean, Nashville
Right.
is just, oh my gosh, the people here are incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a testament to that. I showed up here with nothing. I lived in my car. I literally would like go meet somebody, and they would find out I'm living in my car, and they'd be like, "Do you want to come hang out, sleep on our couch?" Or, "Hey, have you met this person? Hey, do you want to grab like dinner? Like, have you like?" They immediately got me plugged in and connected.
Well,
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean, the people here in the industry, they're amazing. And I think sometimes too, they hear a lot about like the cutthroat and blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe we're all trying to do the same thing at the end of the day, but I really think that the very successful people don't act that way. And we lift each other up and we encourage each other. So I
Right.
think that's why we're also kind of guarded of our community, because we are such a great community. So if you come in and you're not respectful to us, and if you don't play nice with the rest of us, we kind of give you the boot, because we're just kind of protecting our property, truthfully. We
Right.
worked hard for that reputation. So
Right. Yeah, I think the artists themselves, when they talk about the cutthroat industry of Nashville, I think the artists themselves, they're not the cutthroat ones. I think it's more of like the music industry
No.
and
machine.
the machine, the studio execs, the record labels and stuff like that. They're just
Oh,
they're
preach
they're
it,
in it
yeah.
to make they're in it for the money and everything like that. They don't really care
Mhm.
less like if you're country or not.
Yeah.
If you can sell albums for them, that's what they care
That's
about.
the
So,
thing. I think nowadays, solid point, man. Totally solid point. I think nowadays, we were just having this conversation the other day with somebody. Nowadays, sometimes I think the music doesn't matter to the record executives or to this person or that person. It's, hey, how many TikTok followers do you have? Hey, what's
Right.
your Spotify streams like? And that's how they determine what is good and what is not. And that's something that I don't think numbers should reflect, because the only way you get those massive numbers sometimes is by pouring massive amounts of money into something for advertising or creating something or whatever. So it's like kind of odd, but
Well, that's.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say it's funny you bring that up, because that was actually something I wanted to touch on after the live last night, and I know you're working on getting your Spotify count up, and it makes me pause for a minute. All right, and I get that they think that Spotify is important, but I always wonder, like, why do artists really give a shit about Spotify? Because Spotify doesn't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
And so it's like everyone puts this focus on the platform that's like, here's some crumbs, peasant. Go stream your music on my
Yeah.
platform. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we got a Spotify. We got to have all these listeners on Spotify. For who?
Yeah.
For who?
Yeah.
Like,
I
you can't
For
tell me
Spotify.
for a minute that Spotify benefits you in any way, shape, or form when artists that have millions and millions and millions and millions of streams are getting checks for like $300.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what the hell is that?
Well, and I think this is something that is truthfully broken in the industry now. And let me say this, and I will say there is a little addition here that is very important. But the reason why I personally even give a shit, I mean, just to be point blank honest, it's not that I benefit really from Spotify from a financial aspect or anything like that. And I really just am grateful for people who stream my music. I mean, you could go listen to it wherever you want. I just appreciate that. Like, I just want people to hear my music. That's really all I'm trying to do. However, I cannot tell you, being the independent artist that manages my career, books the tour, I do all the stuff, right? How many people will not work with you if you do not have massive Spotify numbers? And so it's almost like, if I want to go play this show, if I want to try to get on this festival, if I want to go do this, it's like they're asking, what's your monthly listeners like? What are your streams? What is this? What is that? Now, is that fair? I'm going to say no.
No, that's broken.
It is broken. It is broken. But me as an artist, here's my 2 cents about this. At least this is how I look at it. I can either sit and bitch and complain, or I can play the game and I can get it done, but I don't have an emotional investment in it. And luckily I have fans which have greatly supported and helped me. And hopefully I just continue to go out and make more. But this is the other thing though, that I was going to say, in a positive note, let's go back. Cause I'm actually very happy right now about some changes though with Spotify and just the music industry in general. And I think this needed to happen a long time ago, but it used to be that when you would release a song, and maybe you guys have already heard this, but it used to be from an artist perspective. So I would put out a song, and within 24 hours, I would get to go open a certain app, right? You need a special app and everything. And I could look and tell you how many streams my song got in the first day.
Yeah.
Well, now they're making me wait 2 weeks, because now what Spotify is doing is they're saying, oh, no. We need to go make sure that there's actually real people. Like, we need to make sure this girl isn't buying streams or buying followers.
Oh, you mean like the labels are doing for
yes,
their
like the
artists?
labels are doing for their artists. So they are actually like really stopping and going, are you putting like a bunch of money towards this? Like, are you Sony being like, hey, we need to boost this or boost that? So now I feel like my playing ground, if you will, it just got leveled. And I went, okay. And so now they're more rewarding, say, not big numbers, but truthfully engagement. And it's like, okay, so maybe you didn't get 100,000 streams in the first day, but maybe you got 10,000 or 5,000. And it's like, well, those are real people listening to your music. So we should now go push that on our platform. And then they're opening up certain tools, like a thing called Clips, which is almost like kind of like its own version of like an Instagram reel, TikTok, YouTube short kind of thing to help with engagement, that word again, on the platform. And I think a lot of people are kind of leaving labels. I mean, we see that they're all leaving labels and they're all doing this independent. And it used to be really looked down upon being an independent artist. Like when I first moved to town, it was like, oh, if you're an artist and you're independent, it's because you suck and no one wants to sign you. And it's like, that's so not the case anymore. It's changed. And I think people are waking up, and Spotify is one, and saying, we got to like change this, right? Or else we're not going to be here in 5 to 10 years. And so what can we do? And so they're kind of giving the power back to people like myself. And so now I just need to go do the work, which I'm like, great, no problem. Roll up our sleeves. Let's go. So I think there's going to be a lot more changes rolling out though within the next year to two with all of that. But I mean, there is a massive switch right now in the music industry. I mean, you can feel it. I mean, and I've never seen anything like it.
Well, I hope you're right. I'm a bit skeptical because Spotify needs the big labels to send their songs over there for people to stream them and listen to them. So call me a cynic. I kind of don't trust a lot of that big machine apparatus kind of stuff. I would love to see that not be the case, but I look at your Spotify numbers, all right, and then I look at your Instagram numbers. And Instagram is tough to get followers.
Oh yeah,
and you're like tenfold on Instagram, which to me, knowing the different platforms and knowing how hard it is to get people on Instagram, that's super impressive. And if I've got a venue, I'm going to look across the board at everything, and I'm going to be like, holy shit, she's sitting like 20K damn near on Instagram. That's no easy feat. So people are definitely digging what she's doing to have those followers. So what the Spotify doesn't mean anything. you know, to me, I know that's harder. I know that Instagram's harder. Or,
Sure.
I know that YouTube's harder, and you've got more on YouTube than you've got on Spotify.
Yeah.
So anybody that knows how these platforms work should know the more difficult ones to pick up followers.
Yeah.
If you're excelling there, so what if you don't have them over here? You're still doing something right to pick those up.
Well, and that, you know, I appreciate you bringing up that point. And this is, I think, an important thing too, which again, I'm not going to say this is fair to the independent artist, but it's true. It's really easy to post on Instagram. You know what I mean? It's easy to post and make content, and I love doing that, and I'm really consistent. And so therefore I have a big following and I get great opportunities on that platform. YouTube, same thing. My YouTube channel has only been in existence for like 2 years. So I'm almost monetized. Like, okay, cool. Like, this is great. You know, on Spotify though, I, for quite a while, did not put out new music. My first record dropped in 2019, and I think it was 2021, 22 when I put out my next project. So I did not post on that platform for a while because the world was in a weird place. And there was a lot. And so if you lose your job and the world shut down and all the shows go away, it's like, well, how am I supposed to have the money to record or do anything? Right. So I didn't post anything, you know, for quite a while. And so I think it actually kind of punished me because I wasn't posting, or I should say releasing songs on Spotify so often. So now my Spotify numbers have finally gone up, but I have been back to consistently posting songs. And even right now, like, I just went in the studio and I recorded 5 new songs. And I'm just lining them up, and I'm just like, okay, like, you want to play this game? Like, well, I'll play with you.
Right.
And, you know, I think that's just kind of the way that we have to do it, those independent artists. And I think that kind of goes back to having to be very smart though about business, because it costs a lot of money sometimes to go in and record. And then you got to have a music video because everything's visual nowadays, and you got to have photos, and you got to, and so, you know, you really have to be very, very smart and intentional. But like, I already know what it is I'm releasing through end of next year. Like, I already have a whole release plan. You know, and it's like, you have to be that far ahead nowadays. Do I think that's fair? No, but I can either bitch or I can get up and I can go do what I need to do. And so I'm like, okay, I'll play your game, and it will probably change in a year or two, but at least I'm in the game. Right. And it's like, just give myself a fighting chance.
You got a plan.
I got a plan. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I'll tell you guys, if you don't mind, something I'm really excited about. So speaking of Spotify, yeah. So I released a single about a month ago now called "This Town Built Me," and I put that out, and it's actually my biggest Spotify release so far. So it got more. Number one, man, it got more streams in the first 2 weeks that it was out than my previous single did in the whole year that it was out. So my numbers have greatly gone up to Spotify, and I'm like, whew, thank Jesus. But so you can see like the work I'm doing though. It's like, okay, like, they're kind of starting to reward me, I feel like, and give me a shot. And I appreciate that. But something that I did is, you know, again, it's like, so I need to be posting, they say, more on Spotify, clearly, to get the numbers and all that up. But also it's like, I love to be creative, and I just don't want to put out bad songs or stuff that I feel like isn't up to par for my fans. Like, I want to get better with every release. And so with "This Town Built Me," that song's doing incredibly well. And we're going to be releasing a music video for it here next Friday, the 10th, premiering on my YouTube channel. Super excited about that. And what I think is really cool though, is we don't have an exact date yet, but before the end of the year, I'm actually going to be releasing a extended version of "This Town Built Me." Because when I wrote that song, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, I love bands like Leonard Skinner and stuff like that, where it's like they would go in the woodshed and they would all write songs together. And, you know, think back to like the 70s. I mean, think about those like wild, crazy guitar solos, right? It's like nowadays it's like, it's a rule here in Nashville when you make a record, it's like your guitar solo has to be 15 seconds. Like, it can't be any more, any less. It's 15 seconds. And it's like, how boring. And so I wrote this song, "This Town Built Me," by myself. And I wrote it actually when we were getting ready to go back home to Bakersfield for the first time since Chris and I had been married. Because we kind of started dating and then got married and all during the pandemic. And it was like, we didn't get to do a lot of traveling. So I was going to take him on tour back to California. We were playing, the last show we played that run was in Bakersfield, my hometown. I played a hometown show. And I was like, what do I show him first? Do I show him the church where I got saved at? Do I show him where I went to school? Like, what do I show him about this place that has been so important in my life? And so that's kind of where the song came from. So I wrote the song by myself and, had it all down, and I bring it to him and I play in the song, just me and my guitar. And then I stop and I go, you like it? And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay, great. I go, so now here's what you're going to do. I said, we're going to go record the country version of Freebird. And he went, what? And I'm like, I want this song to be like 7.5 to 8 minutes. And it's like, I'm going to stop singing here at the commercial, like 3 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm shutting up and we're going to do a whole jam band. Like for 4 minutes, man, just rip it, just go for it. And he goes,
nice.
Okay. So so we went in the studio and so what's out now is I call it the single version, where it's the very politically correct. Here's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And, we have a 15-second guitar solo and it's clean, it's cut. It's something that Nashville will play and not totally kick me out. But so we're going to be releasing the extended version. And it's 7.5 minutes, man. 7 minutes, nice. 35 seconds. And it is a guitar duel. So again, Chris and I played all the guitar parts, and Pat Lassiter is my producer. He's also an incredible bass player. So he's playing bass. He's great audio engineer and producer, but he also played bass with like Charlie Daniels and Lori Morgan and all kinds, Tracy Lawrence, all kinds of people. Wow. So he literally, is playing bass on it, just kills it. And then on drums, we had Charlie Morgan, who he's played for everybody, but he was Elton John's drummer for like 13 years on the road and in the studio. Oh, wow. Nice. Incredible human being. He plays the James Bond theme song. That's him like leading an orchestra, like on the drum. I mean, the guy's incredible. Awesome. But what's funny is like, he's not per se a country drummer. And I looked at him and I told him, I was like, yeah, like I kind of like, you can get off the click. Like, I don't care. Like, we're just gonna go. He thought it was that greatest thing. And so even at the end of the track, like after the 7.5 minute jam band, just, balls to the walls, guitars everywhere. You can actually hear Charlie laughing because he had so much fun. And we left that in the track because it's like, nice. That's, just things like that. So we'll be releasing the extended version though before the end of the year. And I can't wait for that. Cause it's like that. I think just stuff like that though, where it's like, man, that's fun. And I don't see a lot of people doing that. And that's the kind of music I love, right? Where it's very like guitar orientated and tells a story and it just builds on emotion and it's just fun.
And it breaks the rules.
All the time, man. All the time. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I think sometimes, rules are cool, but it's like, we should mend them. I really think that we should, and
absolutely.
And I think that that's just really cool. And I think, I'm also super blessed though. I've always said like about shows and being in the studio and all this, I've always said this, I think sometimes the artist, people act like that's the most important person. And I truthfully think that it's the band. I really think that that's really who can really make or break a show. It's the sound man. It's the band. It's the people that come out. It's all these things. So I always say that I want to be the least talented musician in the room. And because it makes you want to be so much better. If you're always surrounded by greatness, you're always just wanting to go up and up and up. And so I was really blessed what this town built me to be in the room with some incredible musicians. And it's like, I would love for you guys to show off and, take a bow and like show off how amazing you guys are. And I'm going to take a step back. And so I think that's cool though, because I think the guys behind the scenes deserve some credit a lot of the time too, for sure.
Well, bad news for you tonight. You're not the least talented musician.
Darn.
I'm not sure if it's Jesse or I, but I'm certain that it's one of us.
My dog is like way over here sleeping on the floor, so we'll say it's her, guys. Well, she'll be the least one.
No. She wins.
Oh, she wins.
Well, she doesn't win, but she beats out the two of us. That's for damn sure.
All right. No,
she could probably howl a good harmony.
Oh, dude, she's just lazy. She just sleeps. So she's actually going to be in the music video that comes out next week. It's really cute. And so, yeah, we put her in the music video. She has her own fan club, truthfully. I think people kind of follow Chris and I, not for us. It's for the dog. And we know that, and we're cool with it. But yeah, but she was in the music video. She was real cute. She just kind of did her thing. I was like, look at my dog. Put her, and then she like slept for days afterwards. Like somehow that was just exhausting.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, big celebrity over here. All right.
Right. Well, that's kind of a cool thing, and we'll kind of like transition into this. When we were talking a little bit earlier about, you're the songwriter, you're the recording artist, you do, the media and stuff like that. And I know your husband, Chris, very successful with the YouTube channel and, doing the video editing. And obviously you have a background in all that. Transitioning into that, you have your own podcast as well. That we kind of want to talk about that. And I was doing a little research and a little deep diving into like on your Instagram and stuff like that, and I saw you guys were recording the music video and stuff like that, and I'm assuming that you guys are doing that yourselves, recording the music video. And
Yeah. We actually just got a really nice camera. Finally, I feel like that took us long enough.
And a sweet tripod I saw.
A very nice tripod, sir. Very heavy duty. Yeah. So no, we filmed. So Chris has actually filmed my past several music videos. I'm not sure which ones, if you might have seen them, but the first one he did is actually I did a Christmas song, which was a cover. Actually, it was my cover of the Buck Owens Christmas classic "Santa Looked a Lot Like Daddy." And Chris actually filmed that one, and he was in it, which is crazy. So he's playing guitar, and then you'll see him like bounce back and forth. It was awesome. But we filmed that.
Was he Santa or was he Daddy?
I'm going to say Daddy. Santa might be a little weird, but yeah, he did that. And then what's crazy is we were actually out on tour. We were playing a show in Cincinnati, Ohio. And my last single was a song called Stuck on Indiana, which I wrote about Chris. He's from Indiana. And what's crazy is we played a show really late that night before in Cincinnati, Ohio. We drove like an hour and a half to Sunman, Indiana, that's where his parents live. And that's where he grew up. And we stayed the night at my in-laws' house at his childhood home. We woke up really early the next morning, and we went out into the field, like 30 feet from where he grew up. And we filmed the music video for Stuck on Indiana on an iPhone in his backyard. Wow. And Indiana. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And Chris studies like color grade and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, did it. So we did it, and we released that music video, and it's crazy. So I think like on YouTube, it's by far my most viewed video ever. But I think I released it like 6 months ago, and it has 32,000 views on it. Like the song did so well, they gave me a billboard like in downtown Nashville, like right off music. And I'm like, I filmed it on an iPhone in my husband's backyard. I had like no sleep. Like I had played a show like really late. I was like, wow, maybe I should stop trying so damn hard on all this stuff but it's crazy. So but Chris did that one. And then, this one though, for This Town Built Me, that's going to be coming out. We shot all of that, about an hour and a half away, in Charlotte, Tennessee. And we shot and filmed the whole music video ourselves. So it was him and I, our dog, and we had, our good friend Scotty actually come, and he was our assistant that day and kind of just helped out. But no, we shot everything. And then, him and I sit down in his editing studio, upstairs here in our house, and we sat down and we put together the music video together, edit it and everything, and then he does a color correction. So yeah, we do it all ourselves, which is
that's awesome.
It's cool. It's a lot of work clearly, but we really do enjoy it, truthfully. I think it would be hard for me to put out music and videos consistently like I need to if we didn't have that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I really appreciate him and the hard work that he puts into it, because he's so good at playing guitar, and he's just wonderful in so many things. But I don't think he planned on like doing music videos and stuff. But if it's like, hey, do you want to spend like $30,000 every couple of months for a music video? It's like, well, who has that kind of money, So him and I are out there just doing it ourselves, and I think it turned out really, really cool. So, it's the first one shot though, like on a real camera. So hopefully people can, see the difference. And I think with everything music and videos and just everything in life, Chris and I kind of have this philosophy that you are never going to learn and get better unless you just get to doing it.
Right. Yeah.
You just got to dive in. And what we try to do is with every release, every music video, everything, every show, everything that we do, we just pick one thing and we just try to do it better next time.
Yeah.
And we have found that has been just a huge way just to get our brains going and just to continue doing what we're doing, where it's like, you're editing a music video and it's like, man, next time we need blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I literally make a note. And so it's like, so hopefully, it's like we just keep improving. But you have to be present to win. So you just got to show up and keep doing it.
Right.
Well, there's something cool about doing it yourself too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, that's the thing. It's like, sometimes I think that people, like we were talking earlier about the different types of fans. And so I think, nothing against them, but I think there's a lot of people that really only pay attention to artists that are like on a very, very mainstream, which means you probably only listen to the same 5 to 10 artists, truthfully, and that's cool. Like I listen to them too. And I think they're great, like whatever. But I think there's a lot of independent artists like myself who are really storytellers, and we have these visions. And so it's like when you're watching a show or a music video of mine, it's like, I am so involved. It is ridiculous. Yeah. Like we map it out. We come up with the ideas, we produce it, we film it ourselves, we edit it. I upload it to YouTube. I get all the little hashtags and, we do all of that, even my, For This Town Built Me. I don't know if you guys have seen the album cover, for it. Okay. I did all that. That was me. And it took me weeks. Like, I can't even tell you how many weeks that took me. And you'll see like, there's like little bits of handwriting that's like on the front of the album cover, which is like little hidden Easter eggs and like all that stuff. That is my handwriting. And it's, and I like scanned it and I put it on the album artwork and I sized it to like fit and everything. Cool. Yeah. But it's like, there are things like that where it's like, man, there's a lot of like intentionality and storytelling and all this stuff. And it's like, I think a lot of people sometimes, if you're not following independent artists, you kind of miss that, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, I think that's why I love when people are out there like looking for new artists to follow, or, just people that enjoy like a good story or something. I'm like, ooh, right. You're my people. Come on.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's super cool. My wife and I, we have 2 photography businesses.
Nice.
That's what we do full time. We are by no means videographers. I'm trying to. Our son actually studied videography, and he's an amazing videographer. I'm trying to pick his brain and trying to learn a little bit more about that. So that's why when I seen seen your tripod that you had and the camera and stuff like that, I could relate to that.
Yeah.
But, the super cool that you guys are filming your own stuff, doing your own stuff. And then that ties back into with you doing the podcast. I've watched a couple episodes of your podcast and I was like, man, where's Chris at when we need him? Because our podcast editor guy, he's kind of subpar when it comes to this whole thing. But super cool that you guys can jump, from a music video to an album cover to a podcast as far as editing and stuff like that goes. And I totally could see the editing side of that when I watched a couple of your podcasts and everything like that. So,
well, thank you.
Super cool that you, and I'm a little bit jealous because your podcast opening and your editing is far superior to ours.
Our guy sucks.
Yeah. You're looking at him. He's the one with the white beard.
Matt, you do great. Well, I really appreciate that. Chris and I, like I said, we are just so much a team and everything. So the intro that you see for that podcast, I actually made that one myself. So I did the beginning and I did the end, and I told him, I'm like, I have this is my vision, this is my idea. And then I of course film and record them and all, and then Chris edits them, but very much teamwork. But thank you, by the way, for mentioning the podcast. Sorry, I guess I got a little off topic, but
it happens. It happens on our podcast.
I was like,
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
An
down
hour
the
ago,
rabbit hole.
You asked me about my podcast. So going back, I had the idea. Well, I had people request for a long time. They said, "Would you please start a podcast?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what would it be? be about? I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, so I launched back in the beginning of June. I just launched my podcast. It's called Ash-Phalt. So ASH-PHALT, like Ash-Phalt, but Ash-Phalt. But yeah, so it's great though. But it's a podcast just all about life on the road. It is badass. It is badass. But it's a podcast just all about life on the road. And we've already done. I'm done filming my whole first season, but it's great. We interview everything from singers and songwriters, touring artists to traveling nurses. I'm about to release a new episode where we actually talk to an Army veteran who actually went overseas and talk about his time overseas serving our nation and just all kinds of stuff like that. But just, if your life happens on the go, it's like we just have you on the podcast and we talk about it. And it's been really great. And I've gotten really good feedback. And I'm really excited too, because next year, since we're already wrapped up this season, we're just releasing the last couple episodes. So next year, I'm actually, we just got some new recording equipment. I'm actually taking the podcast on tour with me. So I've already have a slew of interviews already lined up, but we're actually going to be doing the interviews like backstage, in a green room, outdoor at a festival. I mean, just, again, just kind of taking it to wherever the people are. So, but yeah, I guess I just talk a lot. And so there's like, I got to have my own podcast. So I can just, give Chris a break and come here.
I feel your pain. The guy that you're talking to right there with the ball cap on, that's kind of him. He talks a lot.
You're like, what? Yeah.
That's kind of how our podcast came about. There was many drinks and many man cave conversations between Matt and I, just sitting here talking about, not just country music, but life, just everything. Yeah. And we'd have our friends sitting around, and Matt and I would just be sitting there talking to the wee hours of the morning, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, drinking in the man cave, having conversations, and everybody's just sitting there kind of like listening to just us talk.
Yeah.
And they're like, you guys need a podcast. Like, we'd listen to you guys. And we're like,
oh, and you guys are awesome at it. Yeah. You guys are awesome at it. Like,
well, thank you.
Yeah.
We try.
We're okay.
We're okay. We're not to your level as far as that goes. Definitely not the editing part of it.
Yeah. Well,
we have a few
practice.
If you
kind of the same thing with just having people on and just having conversations.
Yeah.
There was a few episodes where we had an intro and they were done nicely because their son edited them. But he got too busy with his own personal stuff. And then it like came back to me and I'm like, that didn't work.
It's a whole thing.
And it is. And as far as like I go with like photo editing and photo marketing and stuff like that,
which is like, different. Yeah,
I can do that, no problem. And Matt's like, hey, how do I do this? And I'm like, I have no clue when it comes to this video stuff and this technology and everything. Like, I'm just a country boy from the sticks, man. I just sit here and drink whiskey and talk about country music. Like,
and that's all, man, that's all you have to do. That's, Chris and I,
you hear that, like, Matt? I'm the talent. Yeah. That's all I got to do.
I'll get in trouble. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing that, like Chris and I, like, man, we study all of this stuff though, like so intently. And it's kind of like when something new comes up, we just do a deep dive in it. And we just don't really sleep and we just work all the time, but we do what we love. And so I get it though, because it's a lot and it's a lot of learning curves. And, I think another thing too that is so important, I guess this is kind of marriage advice, which, I mean, I've been married for 4 years. I feel like, I don't know, I'm kind of a newlywed, but I think this is true because a lot of people ask me, they're like, man, how do you and Chris just not get sick of each other? Because it's like you guys do everything together, right?
Yeah.
And I think what a huge part of that, I think really just to be successful in any relationship, marriage, business, whatever, is to play to each other's strengths. And, because that's really the thing. Like Chris does not like doing interviews like this. I mean, like, when I met him, he played in a duo. And he tried to do the artist thing and he goes, I would blow my brains out. Like, oh my gosh. And so the way that I like post or think about certain things or whatever, it's like the whole peopling and being an artist and networking. Like I get so energized by that stuff. Yeah. I love it. I'm like, let's do it. He's not, but he loves to do things like, cook. He loves to do things like play guitar, and he loves to learn all about video editing and all that stuff. And so, I think that's the thing though, that why our relationship works is like, I have the things that I am really good at and he lets me lean into those, and he doesn't try to force me to be any different. Instead, he encourages me just to go to the things I'm good at. And then vice versa. I'm like, all right, you're really good at this. And so go for it, and let's dive in. And then we just kind of work together and we just play to our strengths. And it's like, I think that's just a good, efficient way for things to get done. So
absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I feel your exact pain. Like I said, my wife and I, 2 photography companies.
It's a lot. Yeah.
She's the talent, actually. She is an amazing photographer. And she came to me one day. I was swinging hammer and building and stuff like that. And she was like, I just want to take pictures. I don't want to do the computer stuff. I don't want to do the marketing. I don't want to do the invoice. And I don't want to do the sales. I don't want to do any of that. And me being a talker and kind of a background in that, I was like, well, okay, I'll try it.
I got you. Out. Yeah.
Yep. And so we played at her strength. She takes the pictures and and edits, and then I do the rest of the stuff. So
that's awesome, man. That's so cool.
Play to the strengths of the others. So
yeah. Oh, I love that though. I think that is so awesome. Good for you guys.
So here's a little idea for you. I know you've done some songwriting classes.
I have.
So maybe Chris wants to do some video editing classes.
Maybe he would.
Yeah.
Maybe he would. Yeah.
I know a dumb guy that would certainly take a class or two to know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah. Maybe he would. It's really crazy because when did he start learning how to do all this? Man, I think he started probably about 2 years ago.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Chris isn't going to mind me saying this, but just in full transparency. So Chris, my husband, is autistic, and the neurodivergent brain is it is a racehorse. It is like a superpower. Mm-hmm. So I'm neurotypical as hell. But his brain, like how you're like, how did he learn how to do that? Like, how does he? Autism. It's a superpower, man. Yeah. And so like the way his brain works though, the way he can like see patterns, like he can just figure stuff out super quick. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know what the hell you just said. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. So he's just amazing at that though, like that kind of stuff and the way his brain works. But, maybe he'll film some things, but I'll have to tell him, because I have to tell him that sometimes. I'm like, hey, most people don't get that, so like you're gonna have to I tell him that, like he'll like try like to explain something to me and I'm like, I'm gonna need some Spark Notes, like the dummy Spark Notes version to understand half of what you just said. He goes, oh okay, but yeah, he's just a super smart guy, and yeah, God made him just wonderfully. His brain is just incredible how intelligent he is, but the way he just sees things and can figure stuff out, like video editing like that, and he's always pushing to get better. And same thing with guitar. It's like I've just watched him. He was an incredible guitar player when I met him, and he just soared with it. And I just try to be a good wife and encourage him in all the many talents that he has. And it's exciting to see a lot of growth. It's really cool.
Yeah. I had an uncle that he had a touch of that in like the little puzzles, where you had like the 2 rings and you had to get it out. Like you would or a Rubik's Cube, you could hand it to him and he'd and do it like no problem. Like it was the easiest thing in the world. But then you would ask him like how you would do it, and he couldn't explain, like because his brain was just like functioning at such like a high level of figuring stuff out like that. But yet trying to explain it, couldn't physically explain it to you. And it's crazy how the brain works like that.
Oh, it's amazing. It's super incredible. Yeah. It's sometimes I'd tell them, I mean, clearly there's sometimes, a bad side of it. There's pros and cons to everything in life.
Absolutely.
But that's one thing, because Chris was just recently diagnosed, and, that's one thing, he found this out clearly, like, in his mid-30s, and he's like, oh my gosh, well, this kind of explains stuff. But he's had things like that his whole life, where it's like he'll be so good at something and someone will say, how did you do that? And he's like, I don't really know how to tell you that. Like, it's just there, it's like, and I'm like, man, I wish I had some of that some days, I'm doing pretty good, man.
Our podcast is similar. There's the good and the bad, you got me, the good, and you got Matt, the bad, so I don't know how to explain it. I really don't.
We let him tell himself that because that's the only way he gets through the day, and I just smile and nod.
Yeah, so, there you go. I was gonna say, Matt, you're fun. You're a champ because I feel like we've picked on you this whole time, and you're just great.
I'm good with it. So my youngest son has a touch of the tism, as we say it, and he's actually going to school right now to be a computer engineer. And
how cool!
This kid, like at 3 and 4 years old, be in the backseat of the car, like, ask me math questions. And by the time he was 6, we were using calculators to ask him questions because I didn't know the answers to the problems that I would just throw out to him.
He had that California education. He didn't quite know those.
So fast forward to
add and subtract.
A year ago, I'm trying to have him help me, ratchet strap something down in my truck, and he could not figure it out at all.
Wow.
And I'm like, Spencer, like, how is this possible? Like, you're doing like calculus 3 and physics and all of this stuff that I don't even want to think about reading the title of the book, and you can't figure out a ratchet strap. And when I showed him, he's like, that's so dumb. like it was too simple.
Yeah.
Like in his brain, it needed to be like so much more advanced than what it was.
Yes.
And because it was so simple, it was just like, it made no sense to him at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, and again, that goes back to what I was saying about playing, in the strengths. But, a lot of people, Chris and I are like total open books, but, Chris has said that. He goes, I can look at how to edit or color correct a podcast or a video, or I can play this really complicated thing on guitar, and it's like, boom, no problem. But he's like, basic things sometimes for people that are neurodivergent, like sending an email or making a phone call or that kind of, it's like, no, like that's like that's a big no. It becomes stressful, and it's like, it's so simple. It's just like, what? So, but again, it's like, well, I can't do this. So let me handle all the admin, booking the tours and handling the people and having like, let me do that. And then like, you do the things you're good at. And
absolutely,
then it's like, it works out. But yeah, the neurodivergent brain is a great team. Exactly. And sometimes I think, this is just my personal opinion. Sometimes I think people, like when I say things like, oh yeah, my husband's autistic or something, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, don't be. Like, he's an incredible human being with all these talents. Like, I mean, he is by definition, fearfully and wonderfully made. And it's like, I think there's so many people like, your son it's like, I think that's so cool. And I think we need people like that in the world. And I think they're also just some of the best people, man. But, man, the TISM rocks. That's all I'm going to say. It's great. But, I just love all the ways their brain works that I'm just like, wow, like you really do make the world a better place.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of great when you've got multiple kids. My wife and I, we have 6 kids.
Oh, wow.
And so we have 5 older and then 1 younger.
Busy little breeders.
Clearly.
I needed one of those socks a long time ago. You guys have to go over to their channel and watch their recap from last night's live.
Oh, it was really something.
But
Ash Wednesday, baby.
Yep.
The 5 older, Spencer's the youngest of the 5 older, and so like growing up, they would tease him like, "Oh, you're such a nerd. You're such a nerd. You're such a nerd." Always straight A's. The kid is just always been on it. Like he was the one we didn't have to worry about school wise or anything like that.
Right.
And I remember my middle son in high school was, a super jock, but not the brightest, kind of like Jesse. And so, he would say, "Oh, Spencer, I got all these hot girls and you're just a nerd and blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Hey, you know what?" I'm like, "Matthew, guess what? 15 years from now, Spencer's going to be making bank. And you know what? He's going to have a beautiful wife then. And when you're done playing high school football, what are you going to have to offer some girl more than just, look at me, I'm a stud?" And it was like, now Spencer's kind of starting to move into that last laugh kind of stage where he's going to be moving forward and probably make more than all of them put together, to be my guess, knowing that kid.
Right.
And he won't.
Are you saying my wife's not beautiful?
Huh?
Are you saying my wife's not beautiful? I didn't catch I didn't say that.
Don't try and get me in trouble with Tasha. Don't you dare. She knows better. She
does know better. I'm the salesman, so I swindled her. So
yeah,
that's a good way to do it.
Yep, that's how I
a good
snagged
way.
her.
I
Don't
like
tell her
it.
I said that though. She don't watch the podcast because she doesn't like. Same thing like you were talking about. Like we're together 24/7, and so this is like my little escape, my little break. And she's like, I don't have to listen to him for about an hour or so. So
yeah, that's fair. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
All right. Well, so we got you got a show coming up, and so we don't do the whole like typical podcast season stuff.
Okay.
Our season runs the year. So season 2 started in January, and we're still going, and season 2 will end. Because somewhere I read that we needed to do this every week, like Law and Order. And so we've missed some weeks here and there, our little hiatuses. But I don't know. We're on like episode 20 something, high 20s, 30 something. I don't even
love
know.
it. I love it.
Seems like 55.
One of these days we got to narrow that down a little bit better. But in all reality, this is going to come out on Tuesday.
Cool.
And so you got your new video coming out on Friday.
Yes.
But you also have a show coming up on Saturday.
I do, yeah. So Friday, October 10th at 4 Central, 5 Eastern, the music video for This Town Built Me, my new single, drops on my YouTube channel. And then the next day, so the 11th, October 11th, Saturday, we are going to Lewisburg, Tennessee, and I am playing a fair and festival out there called Goats, Music, and More. So tell me you're a country singer without telling me you're a country singer.
Exactly.
Play at the Goats, Music, and More. Yes.
When I read that on your website, I was like, that's like the most country thing I've ever heard.
Those are my people. They are gathered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. So it's a festival that happens out in Lewisburg, Tennessee, and I'm going to be playing that day and hanging out, having a good time. And there's a whole bunch of other artists and bands that are going to be playing. And then the headliner that night is a guy named Aaron Tippin, who I don't know if you guys remember, but he had some pretty big hits in the 90s and 2000s.
So household name.
Oh, dude, wonderful. I'm a big fan of his music, so I'm really excited to hopefully get to meet him and excited just to open up for him and, kind of just get to hang out. So yeah, I'm doing that show, and then I'm honestly probably not going to be doing any more for the rest of the year. I am, like I said, kind of getting ready for my next season of my podcast. I've got new music. I've got all this kind of stuff, but we're actually hitting the road next year in 2026. I'm actually starting touring super early. So I'll be announcing more tour dates and more info, but I'm actually hitting the road at the end of February in 2026.
Nice.
And so yeah, next year is going to be a very busy, big touring year already with just what we have lined up.
Can you sneak any dates, anything in the Midwest, anything close to Michigan?
Yes. So I'm actually talking with 3 different venues in Michigan. So hang tight. We're going to be going though to, we're going to be going to Michigan for sure, Texas, Oklahoma, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, of course, maybe some West Coast states, California and Oregon and stuff like that. So yeah, we're going to be a little bit of everywhere though.
Well, if you're already coming to Michigan, if it's not one you're talking to, give the Venue Event Center a call in Cadillac, Michigan.
Okay.
And
I'm going to write this down.
We'll send you their stuff and everything.
Talk to our buddy Sean.
Thank you. Please,
our buddy
thank
Sean
you.
at the Venue Event Center up in Cadillac, Michigan. Awesome venue. He's brought in a bunch of big names. We've seen Brian Martin there. We're going to see John Morgan there. Lots of big things that they're doing up there. Lakeview.
Love it.
Moonshine Bandits are going to be there.
Right on.
Gosh, I can't even remember.
They've had quite a few.
They've had quite a few, and they're bringing in quite a few new
and
ones.
It's like a 600 cap venue.
Okay.
They're constantly like evolving and going bigger. And I think
they're adding on. I
think you said something about Texas barbecue before.
Somewhere,
but they've got a nice little barbecue situation going on there with some. Some brisket mac and cheese and pulled pork tachos and
stop
all kinds of good stuff.
Stop. please send me their info. You have sold me.
Absolutely.
You have sold me,
Absolutely.
good sir. Yeah. No, please do. Yeah, we're looking forward to it though. We're gonna have I think like a really good year. And like I said, I got a whole bunch of new music, and I'm actually I'm not playing any more shows this year because I'm actually doing two things. One, I'm actually writing my very first book.
Okay. Nice.
I know. I don't want to share too much, dude. Bad Ash. That's what they say. But yeah, I'm writing actually my very first book, and so I'm hoping to get a good portion of it done, kind of during these winter months, and kind of work on that project. And then I'm also my youngest brother Tristan lives here in Nashville with his wife, and they are going to be having a baby boy any day. And so I intentionally months ago. Oh yeah. Because some of my show dates are booked like a year or two in advance. Like it's crazy how far out we can book nowadays. And so, but I literally when they said that they were pregnant, I was like, I will not tour past this date.
Done.
I will be home. I gotta go hold the baby. Yeah. So I'll be sitting in the waiting room, writing my book and doing my thing, and then just waiting for the baby. But yeah, so but it's good. I'm looking forward though to hitting the road early next year and go everywhere. But yeah, we got to come see you guys in Michigan. We got to go do it. Got to do it. Yeah.
So in the meantime, everyone can find you at ashtaylor.com.
Yeah.
From there, they can go to all of your socials, but we definitely want to help for your big push right now is to get people on Spotify, real people. So you guys make sure you guys are going over to her Spotify, following her there, listen to her music, stream her songs, listen to at least a couple a day, and get your Ash Taylor fix every day on Spotify. As much as I don't like plugging that. That's
it helps her. It helps her out. So.
Matt, you're a sweetheart.
I'm cringing inside, but
he's upset. Go ahead.
Help her get 3.4 cents. No.
Oh wow, you can make that much. What?
Right. No, but if that's what the venues are wanting to see is people having Spotify numbers, venues do better. But.
And then make sure you're checking out her.
In the meantime, everyone else goes listen on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yep. And check out her podcast too, Ash-Phalt Podcast. And then also she does a live Ash Wednesday every Wednesday.
Yeah. So the first, I do it once a month. The first Wednesday of every month. Yeah. I was doing it every week for a while, but guys, it got to be way too much. Especially with touring and everything. So yeah, but I go live the first Wednesday of every month at 7 Central, 8 Eastern on my Facebook and on my YouTube channel. And as Matt saw last night when he tuned in, we just have a blast. I mean, we just pick guitars, we play some music. We always do a giveaway. We give something away, and we just kind of hang out and talk about whatever. And it's just a good time to connect with fans and kind of let loose. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Stick around. Don't take off just yet. But any rate, make sure you guys are following her on all the socials. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. Make sure you're telling your friends and your grandma on them. And
once she releases her tour dates for Michigan and everywhere, make sure you guys are going there. Make sure you're buying the merch. Merch is the ticket. So
they've got some new merch on the way. I hear there's a rumor.
I do.
Especially for those cold winter months in the north.
Just in time for Christmas.
For all you bad ashes out there.
Yeah.
All right. We will catch you guys next time on
Y'all Need Music Podcast.
Later.
Out. You got to hit